Okay. So I am working on a story which basically looks at how climate change is spurring renewed faith amongst India's farmers.
Uh-huh.
So I
Okay.
wanted to get your opinion on the matter.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how do you think climate change is spurring renewed faith amongst India's farmers?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So in climate change, okay. So are you recording, writing? I will be starting my answer now.
Yes, I'm taking notes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Climate change is an English word,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there is no equivalent word in Indian languages yet. Although some people try to translate it as paristitiki parivartan, but I am not sure if those kind of Sanskritic translated words have yet entered the consciousness of Indian farmers. I've not done, uh, you know, any research on this topic, whether they've understood or not. But I feel that such a heavy word,
Mm-hmm.
paristitiki parivartan, which is so hard to even pronounce by somebody who has taught Sanskrit to American kids.
Yeah.
I don't think Indian farmers have accepted that term, and of course they don't speak English. Climate
Mm-hmm.
change also is a new term.
Mm-hmm.
So problem is when we ask such questions, those of us who speak, think, read, write in English, we sometimes tend to assume that English terms are globally understood by even people who have no clue of English language.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we have to stop and think: are we asking the right question?
Right.
The better question from my perspective would be to understand what I have encountered also in my research across Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra for my first and second book,
Mm-hmm.
which are both based on climate, which are based on faith and culture, broadly speaking, faith and Indian culture, or faith and Hinduism, faith and Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism. So
Okay.
what I found is that faith by farmers goes centuries, even millennia in Indian context. There are texts written in Sanskrit
Mm-hmm.
that were talking about agriculture, at least 1,000 years before we even heard of climate change or biodiversity or whatnot.
Yes.
So that's the text called Krishi Parashar. Krishi Parashar.
Okay.
Parashar is the name of a sage, Hindu sage,
Mm-hmm.
and Krishi means farming, as you know.
Yeah.
So Krishi Parashar was written centuries ago, and that talks about all kinds of guidance, that advices that farmers should uh, take it very seriously. How astrologically, what kind of right time, right date is for sowing and for reaping the harvest and whatnot, and what kind of instruments should be properly used, how to. And farmers have been using these techniques and using these kind of ideas for centuries.
Yeah.
uh, Farmers have also been worshipping, not worshipping in the sense having this reverence, not just for Hindu gods and goddesses, but they have always been also taking, having deep reverence for the sun that causes their harvest to grow, the rain, that god and gods of rains, Varuna, for example, god of Vedic god of water.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been having these reverential ideas for millennia.
Okay.
And climate change may be a big latest threat to our farmers and to our society in general worldwide.
Yeah.
But Indian farmers have been dealing with natural calamities for millennia. And if you read Hindi stories written by Premchand,
Mm-hmm.
the the most celebrated Hindi author from last century,
Yeah.
he has written dozens and dozens of stories on farmers, as if he provides this ethnographic, research-based description of Indian farmers. And you see that he always described farmers as somebody some people who are dealing with all kinds of calamities, disasters, unpredictable nature for millennia. So uh, by the time they sow the seed into the soil, and by the time they cut the harvest, there are all kinds of unpredictable events happening to farmers. Uh, there is a unpredictability of rain, which is also shown in popular films such as Lagan.
Yeah.
The first scene starts with that farmers desperately waiting for rain. So long before climate change, farmers, Indian farmers at least, and probably farmers worldwide, but I will speak only on Indian farmers. Indian farmers dependent on have always depended on the natural phenomena which are always unpredictable.
Yeah.
Long before climate change. So rain is one example, sun is another example. Then after harvest is ready, they have to protect it from fire. So also because of the extreme heat, fire is another threat. Then the Indian farmers are having very small farms that have to be protected also uh, by animals, or stray animals roaming around their villages, and even thieves. I think so.
Yeah.
They always to take care of all these extremely harsh conditions, and still they very patiently they grow the food for us to consume and relish in our restaurants and hotels and homes and kitchens and whatnot.
Yeah.
Uh, so what I'm saying is that the faith in uh, their faith in Hindu gods and goddesses, in natural gods and goddesses such as sun, the earth, the river, the water, have always strengthened, I think, in their belief in themselves and belief in their work, and that's what I think have have them grounded. They have continued these practices of farming for millennia. And climate change is another, whatever unpredictability they had from nature has been only, I think, sharpened. It has become even more intense. Extreme weather. Latest example is the extremely dangerous snow and ice conditions in Dallas area, where I've lived for a decade in Dallas, in Texas. So that's those are the powerful example, very recent, and as we speak, still happening in Dallas.
Yeah.
These are the things that are causing even more dangerous conditions for farmers to survive and to thrive in this global economy. And so I think faith is one uh, moral anchor, I think, for farmers to hang on to as they deal with these issues as they've been dealing for millennia.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
recently, like last year, India faced a locust attack. So like a swarm of a lot of birds, they kind of ate all the crops. So during that time, all the farmers were distressed because they did not see it coming. It was all of a sudden. So a lot of them turned to their faith. And
Yes.
like, yeah, so
Yes.
are those kind of calamities you are kind of talking about?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's a perfect example also. So even that example is, it's not a out of the blue example for Indian farmers. They have always, I think, from my perspective, for millennia, they have faced such issues where, prey birds or prey animals, beasts. We have to remember again, unlike Euro-American farmers, where their farms are largely, they don't have to deal with tigers and lions.
Yeah.
Indian farmers even have to deal with tigers and lions for their own lives, for the lives of their livestock, for the lives of their family members. Even today, almost all Indian wildlife sanctuaries, be it lion or tiger, are all surrounded, or even cohabitation is a norm in India. Even wildlife sanctuaries have humans living inside the sanctuaries.
Yeah.
So they have to. Humans have always. Farmers are part of the humankind. So they have always to live in close cooperation and close harmony with animals and with all these kind of natural calamities, or even the one example that you just shared. But there are just series of these kind of challenges that farmers have been dealing for millennia because
And
of their faith.
yeah, according to your research, do they always turn towards their faith? Are like almost all farmers in India
Yeah.
codependent on it?
Yes. Farmers. Uh, Based on, again, from my research, so wherever I've gone in Uttarakhand, and I've met farmers, interviewed farmers in Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab,
Yeah.
and yes, faith remains their core strength, be it Sikhism or Hinduism, with all the local variations and so on,
Right.
have always guided them. uh, I've not met a Buddhist farmer yet, but and also Jainism kind of discourages farming because Jain philosophy thinks that farming inherently causes a lot of violence to microbes and insects
Yes,
and so
yes.
on.
Mm-hmm.
So Jains you see very less doing farming. There are Jain farmers. It's not that there are not no Jain farmers. There are Jain farmers in Maharashtra and Karnataka, but I have not yet met them.
Okay.
Mostly whom I've met are mostly Hindu farmers and Sikh farmers. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah, I think that covers everything I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Yeah, and is it all right if I use your quotes for my story?
Yes, of course, and I would love to get a copy of this audio file also, if you don't mind.
Of course, yes, I can share that with
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
And after you publish your story, maybe I can also share
Yeah,
on
yeah,
social
of
media.
course. Definitely, I'll share it
Okay.
with you. Thank
Super.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for talking to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thanks.
doing this story.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.